on a section of river that I've never fished before. Hopefully we'll bag some perch. This is the power of the stick bait. 4 casts, 4 stunning perch. Get in. Thanks for choosing to watch the video, and in this one we are talking about stick baits. Now I know, I can almost hear you, oh great, Nick Marsh again with another Ned Rig video, but just hear me out. These little sticks of rubber are fantastic finesse lures, we know this, and you just can't argue with their results. It's about to get very, very cold, and I feel that on some sessions a stick bait is still going to be your best option. So we're going to look at a range of stick baits, talk about when to use them, how to fish with them, you know, the different sort of patterns that there are, and then of course we're going to go out on the river and we're going to try and catch some cracking perch on them. So there we go, there's a few different types of stick bait there. I suppose things to consider with these are colour, length, and certainly something that I really look at for is buoyancy, because it's really, really important. I think there's too many of these on the market that aren't buoyant enough, and yeah, they're just not sitting upright on the bottom, and that really, really is important with a stick bait. So I'm literally just going to go through a few. You've heard me in the past talking about obviously the Squirmz. I've always loved those, particularly in this sort of bruiser colour, and the Dark Lord and the Lobworm. Yes, they've always been great lures for me. There are some other options though. Obviously there's the TRDs. We've all heard of those and probably used those. I personally like the big TRDs, and whilst I'm holding that, let's talk about that colour, that blue black. I just think, you know, I always liked the bruiser as well when I was using the Squirmz. You know, that sort of black blue colour I really, really like. I think it's because it creates such a contrast in the water. Moving on, there you've got the Swingball, again a really nice buoyant lure, one of the UV creature range that's really, really nice and buoyant, works really well. Funky Worm, that's another one that I've been using recently. I do like the sort of like green pumpkin-y colours, green pumpkin sort of like earthy colours, like earthworm, that kind of thing, apart from that blue black that I do absolutely love. Another popular one is the Stick Flex. This one is actually made by Googan baits, and it's got a little bit of a rattle in it, which I don't know if that makes a difference, the rattle, to be honest. Certainly it's a bit of a strange concept that for me in a Ned Rig, because I don't know if you're using it enough to get the most out of that rattle, but as you'll see later in the video, they do work. The only stick bait that I use that isn't that sort of like muted, earthy, sort of like darker colours is this, and that is the Funky Worm. It's in a very bright sort of fire tiger colour, and in coloured water where nothing else is happening, this has actually worked really nicely. So there we go, a whole bunch of stick baits there, lots of different shapes and sizes, in some of my favourite patterns and some of my favourite colours. These stick baits are particularly good when you're wanting to apply a finesse method. You know, you might have found some fish with your search bait, and then you're trying to pick off as many as you can with a stick bait, and that's exactly what happened in this crazy session down in Dorset. So down on the coast, and I've grabbed my lure rod, so I'm going to have a crack at the perch on a section of river that I've never fished before. I've got about an hour tops. Hopefully we'll bag some perch. Okay. Fancy tip. Come on, bit of perch. Bit of perch. Nice bite. Just the wrong amount of line, I think. Not the perch. Oh. Go fishing. Feels like it could be another pike. Right, if it was a big perch, it does seem to be a lot of pike along there. No, it is a perch. Lovely, lovely times. Yes, yes, cracking. Got another one, another hit. Keep forgetting to turn the GoPro on like an idiot. Hopefully that's a perch as well. If it is, it feels like quite a good one. Already got one in the net. It is another one. Found them. It's quite a nice one. Oh my God! Two down in the net, 2 in 2 casts. Hopefully there's a few down there. Yep, another one. That time quite close in. Hopefully it's another one. There it is. Unbelievable fishing. Now that I've found them, wow. Look, 2 in the net down there. Here comes another. Oh my word. Wow. So, possibly found a whole school of perch here. Found them with the nimble. Now converting a few with a Ned Rig. They might actually just be at my feet. There we go. Oh, that one feels like it could be a better one. I'm going to give it some. There's quite a lot of snags here. Got it away from the danger, I think. This is incredible. Look at that. Flipping hell. Here we are. This is the power of the stick bait. Look at this. 4 casts, 4 stunning perch. Well, I've not fished this river before. Look at those. Couple of crackers. I've got 2 more down there. Some lovely, lovely Dorset perch. Might have to fish for these a bit more often. So a short session there that really did go to plan. It was absolute textbook in actual fact, because I used a search bait to find the fish, and then I used a stick bait just to try and convert as many out of the shoal as I could. And in fact, after those 4 that I caught there, I didn't want too many in the net, so I released those and I managed to catch another 2. So I do think that I picked off pretty much the whole shoal. In terms of the search bait that I was using a little creature bait for that. And some people, I think they find this a little bit unusual that I use a creature bait as a search bait, with most people using small shads. I've always liked these tiny little creature baits that are about 2–2.5 inches in size, but it's quite important that they're not these creature baits that have got thick claws, you know, that are just designed to stand up on the bottom. They've got to have these very thin sort of flappers, you know, that are going to work for me in the water. You know, they'll have a fairly good swimming action, which means that I'm not bumping these on the bottom. I am actually bringing them up in the water a little bit and fishing them a little bit faster. Now, having said that, my confidence has grown in shads a little bit more recently, and I have conformed a little bit, and I'm using small shads like these in a 7cm or a 9cm, and yeah, I am picking up some fish on these. So, you know, that would be a very good option as well. You know, a small shad like this as a search bait, convert as many as you can then with a stick bait. So let's cover just quickly when to use a stick bait. Obviously, like I've said there, when you're, you know, you've found them with another lure and now you're converting as many as you can. That's one obvious scenario in which a stick bait is really, really good. The other is when it's cold. And now I know I've been through this in other videos and I'll link them on the screen somewhere. But I do think when it gets really, really cold, a stick bait is a good lure to choose when you're wanting to fish incredibly slow. Now, I used to think that I fish slow. I didn't. I do now. Now that I've sort of seen some other people and how they actually fish their Ned rigs and how they fish these stick baits slowly in the winter, you cannot go slow enough with these lures. You've got 2 speeds, either slow or stop. So yeah, try them when it's really cold. Sometimes they will only be the only option. Obviously, we've got more options these days, you know, in terms of buoyant creature baits and other bit. They haven't always got to be a stick bait, but I do find that a stick bait is a good option when you're really, really struggling in winter. Now, in terms of how you're going to tackle up when you're fishing a stick bait like this, I would just use my everyday jig rod, which is about 14 gram, moderate sort of braid on that. Leader, maybe about 5 foot of fluorocarbon, 10 pound there or thereabouts. But I think the important thing here is the jig head. Now, really, ideally, you should be using a jig head like this that's got a flat bottom. And what that is going to do is just going to facilitate it standing upright like that. That is really, really important. Now, you might get away with not using these and just using a regular jig head if the stick bait you're using is really, really buoyant. But as I said earlier, that, you know, not all stick baits are the same. Some are more buoyant than others. One thing I would say, if they're going over on their side, give them a stretch. That sometimes brings some buoyancy back into them, but they're not always as buoyant as you would like them to be. And so generally speaking, a flat bottom jig head, 5 gram. I have got 3s as well, but generally a 5, because I really do like to pin these to the bottom when it's cold. Flat bottom, and then just mount the jig head on, and then at least you know it's sitting upright and proud of the bottom exactly as we want it. Make sure it's mounted really nice and straight on the hook. Fish it slow, really slow, lots of long pauses. It's not the most exciting way to fish, but sometimes it is the only way to get a result. Get in. Oh, it's a proper one. Oh, it's a proper one. Oh, yeah. Fishing into dusk, and we've got one. Look at it. What a cracker. Yeah, just absolutely stunning. We'll never get tired of catching these. On a new stick bait, I'm just giving a go. Over the moon with that. So there you go, and it just shows that there may be some truth behind the fact that many people do feel that those big perch are quite lazy. A very slowly bumped stick bait does seem to be the technique that gets those big uns. Thanks again for choosing to watch the video, and in fact all of the videos that I posted to the channel. Hopefully I'll bump into some of you on the bank at some point, but if I don't, enjoy your fishing, enjoy being outdoors, and be lucky.